mighty dwarf kingdoms, long thought diminished, are resurgent under their high king.
Hello and welcome to another Total War Warhammer guide. Today we are looking at the missile infantry of the Dwarf, or some of them. They've got a lot, so I've had to split the videos. But we are looking at the Quarrellers, we are looking at the Quarrellers with great weapons, and the Thunderers. These are probably the backbone. These are the first units you'll get introduced, the Ranger units you'll get introduced to in the Dwarf campaign. And they are just absolutely solid. So as most missile infantry that you'll see in the game are good at archery or crossbow or handguns or whatever, but in combat, utter shit. Dwarfs are different. Every dwarf can fight pretty much. So we're going to look at the attributes of each unit, the differences between the units, and how then we're going to play a little battle and talk about how you'd use them in a fight. So, which is kind of obviously shoot shit, don't you? Really, shoot shit till it's dead. That's the dwarfen way. So these are the Quarrellers. As you can see, they've armed with this sort of short crossbows, and they've got a shield on their back. So this protects them against missiles, which is really good if you're having one of those missile offs when you've got a unit of archers versus a unit of Quarrellers. The Quarrellers are going to win because they're taking less damage. But the big thing about these, as we said, are they are decent fighters. So you don't have to withdraw them once the battle lines get... You know, they're not the best. They're not as good as warriors or the other units, but they are very, very decent, especially compared to other missile infantry. So they've got 80 armour, ridiculously high. They're dwarfs, really good leadership, obviously very slow-paced. Attack and defence are okay, and weapon strength is okay. Let's have a quick look at the breakdown. 5 armour piercing there. Rubbish charge bonus. They got 22 ammunition, 155 range, which is okay, and missile damage of 21. Takes 9.9 seconds to reload, which will quickly go over to the Thunderers just to see that difference. So, well, 10.8. So they're a little bit slow. The handgunners were a little bit slow. I just wanted to check that before I totally forgot to show you that bit. It's always important to look at that because not just the damage. It's actually, well, it doesn't matter if they shoot twice as fast. So the other option you have for the Quarrellers is to get rid of the shield and go with great weapons. I'm not a massive fan of this unit. They still have their uses, don't get me wrong, and they can still fight. These are like basically a unit of rubbish dwarf warriors with great weapons. I prefer... Because they're not the greatest fighters, if I'm going to get them into melee combat, I want them a bit more survivable. So that shield really helps from the missile infantry and stuff like that. But they do serve their purpose. Obviously, they do armor piercing damage instead. Everything else is pretty much the same. Last unit we're going to look at is the Thunderers. So they are shielded as well. They have got armor piercing missiles because of those handguns, which is great up if you're going against the more heavily armored unit, especially later on in the game where lots more units the enemy is going to be using are heavily armored, and they're also decent in a fight. So they have 3,480 hit points, which apparently is 60 more for no apparent reason than the other unit. They're both coming units of 60. 80. So pretty much all the stats are the same. So 80 armor. What we'll do is we'll put this unit here just so we can compare more directly the two units. So 80 armor, 66 leadership, all the same. Speed is 30. Their melee attack is 20 as opposed to 16, so a little bit better. Defense is 26 for both. 28 weapon strength, 4 charge, 22 ammunition. The range of the Quarrellers is a little bit longer, so an extra 20, but the Quarrellers do a little bit more damage overall, 16 and 4 armor piercing, but obviously the Thunderers do much more armor piercing damage, 14 armor piercing damage, and as we spoke, they shoot a little bit slower. But in essence, whoa, spaz out there. In essence, the way they work is pretty much the same. So the way, if you think of the, I don't know if you guys have played the tabletop version, the way dwarfs often set up is because they have such good ranged infantry, they will often, and artillery and all that sort of thing, is they will set up what's called a dwarven gun line. And that is basically unit upon unit of ranged infantry. And the reason why the dwarfs can do this, not only is their infantry good at shooting, the fact you have good at shooting units that can also go in a fight. You could theoretically have an entire army that's ranged, which you just couldn't do with any army because you'd have such a soft front that they just rip through you. Obviously, my personal preference is I still like a bit of fightiness. I still do like the dwarf warriors and the miners with their vanguard movement. I think is really, really useful. So we're just going to have a wander up here. But that's basically how you'd use them. Like any other archery unit, the difference being that you can use them in a fight. Me personally, I still like to, like I said, use those more sort of specialised units to do the fighting, but I do like to use these units as flank chargers, rear chargers, just to help out in combat or a fight. Just need the numbers. Sometimes your unit might be losing a fight, it's pretty close, but you just need a few extra bodies in there just to boost their leadership, charge these guys in. That's kind of how I use them. So we're sort of murdering some poor little Bretonians at the moment. Should we send in old Ungrim? Let's use his charge bonus. 12 seconds. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Look at the speed. Look at the speed of him. So as you can see, we've almost broke this unit. I don't think they'd ever get to combat here. Ungrim's going to go, oh my god, I'm getting shot by in the back of the head by my own troops. There he goes. We're going to break that unit nice and easy. So we're going to move on to the next unit. Excuse my dreadful video skill. I've just got a new mouse and it's really weird. That's my excuse and I am sticking to it. So this is often actually quite a good tactic in smaller battles. When you don't really want to lose numbers, just use your hero to fight and just pepper the crap out of them with your ranged weapons. Because your hero might take a bit of damage, but you know, you're not losing any troops whatsoever. So there's I don't know why their lord is going up against Ungrim. It's not a fair fight. So there you go, guys. There's my little mini guide to the Quarrellers and the Hammerers. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you do. Let me know which unit you prefer to use in battle, if you have a preference. But also, I'd like to know if you use them as fighters as well. Have you got an all-missile infantry army? That would be fascinating to know. I'd love to see and know how well that works. I've not used it myself. Like I said, I do like me warriors and other my slayers. My favourite unit in the game, slayers. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Hit that like button and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.